Have you ever wondered, are we living into worlds one we can see, and another we can only feel through, something invisible? Why do some people dream of the future before it happens? Why do we suddenly think of someone just as they call? Why do young children vividly describe lives they've never lived? Are these mere coincidences, or are they faint traces of another reality where the soul, intuition, and time flow differently from what we know? Modern science can explain almost everything, but not everything. And it is precisely in those unexplained gaps that psychic ability begins to whisper. In this journey, we won't rush to conclusions. We'll simply observe, listen, and ask questions. Together, we'll explore the crossroads where science meets spirituality, reason meets feeling. What's proven meets what remains unnamed. From the definitions and categories of extrasensory perception, to scientific experiments, ancient records, and bizarre cases that even skeptics can't ignore, we'll peel back the layers one by one to reach the ultimate question. Are psychic abilities real, or are they simply the work of a dreaming, pattern-seeking brain? Keep your mind open, because some truths only appear when you stop trying to explain them. Psychic abilities, the invisible veil between humanity and the universe. Psychic abilities, a concept both familiar and mysterious, have long stirred humanity's deepest curiosities. Could human beings truly perceive, know, or even see things beyond the limits of their five senses, beyond time and space? If consciousness is a door, then psychic ability is the thin crack that opens into deeper layers of reality, where ordinary logic can no longer reach. In the vast cosmos of parapsychology, 7 primary types of psychic abilities are most often mentioned, each one like a bright star on the map of human potential yet to be discovered. Telepathy is often considered the starting point. It is the ability to transmit and receive thoughts without words, glances, or gestures. Between two individuals, especially soul-connected pairs, like twins or lifelong companions, there are moments of immediate, wordless understanding, as if, unconsciously, their minds are speaking in silence. Clairvoyance, by contrast, opens a different doorway, the ability to perceive things beyond the physical eye. Clairvoyance can see through space, accessing events, objects, or situations not visible to others. Though unproven by science, stories of uncanny accuracy have led many to wonder, how could they have known such detail? Precognition, or the ability to foresee the future, may be the most unsettling of them all. While no one can truly measure time, some individuals claim to have seen events before they happen. A dream, a flash of imagery, or a nameless sense of dread only for it to unfold days later. Coincidence, or traces of a temporal map that remains hidden to most. Past life recall delves even deeper into the soul. Around the world, children have recounted vivid memories of lives they could not possibly know, names, places, and events far beyond their current existence. If time is a river, might past life memories be the echoes of the soul returning to speak? Psychometry, the reading of objects, is a lesser-known but fascinating ability. Those with this gift claim they can touch a physical item and sense its energy, its history, even the emotions of its former owner. Objects, once thought inert, become vessels of silent memory, revealed not through images or sound, but through the gentle touch of an attuned hand. Astral projection takes us to the threshold between waking and dreaming, between reality and the unknown. Many report out-of-body experiences where they leave their physical form, observe themselves from above, or travel across strange landscapes. Though still shrouded in mystery, such journeys often bring a sense of profound peace, as if consciousness itself had expanded beyond the flesh. Finally, mediumship is the ability to communicate with spirits, those who have passed on. Mediums believe they can hear, feel, or relay messages from the dead to the living. In seances, rituals, or sacred moments of silence, they become bridges between worlds where voices no longer echo through the mouth, but through a vibration beyond form. Each of these abilities is like a flickering lantern in the night, illuminating corners of reality still wrapped in darkness. Despite skepticism, controversy, and scientific restraint, their presence across cultures, religions, and personal experiences throughout history suggests one thing. Beneath the surface of our physical existence, we may carry a quiet power, a capacity to touch that which science hesitates to name, something we might simply call the soul. What does science say when the mystical faces the lens of logic? Beneath the cold light of science, psychic abilities have long stirred debate. On one side stand those with unexplainable experiences, who believe in a hidden world beyond our senses. On the other are the numbers, experiments, and rigorous methods of science, constantly questioning, are these abilities real? Or are they illusions, coincidences, or clever tricks of the mind? Surprisingly, within the heart of modern science lies a twilight zone, places where even experts admit we don't fully understand yet. First, neuroscience suggests that phenomena like gut feelings or powerful intuition may actually stem from the brain's incredibly fast, unconscious processing. What feels like magic might be the result of millions of subtle signals our brain has picked up, calculated, and interpreted beneath our awareness. When someone just knows something is wrong, it may be because their mind has quietly pieced together a pattern from fragments we didn't consciously notice. Second, the Barnum effect, a well-documented psychological phenomenon, shows that humans are extremely prone to believing vague statements that feel personally accurate, even when those statements could apply to anyone. This is the very mechanism behind the effectiveness of horoscopes, fortune tellers, and many so-called psychics. Statisticians further point out that many prophetic dreams or strange feelings can simply be explained by random probability. With billions of people dreaming each night, it's entirely plausible that a few dreams will accidentally align with real-world events. And our brains are wired to remember the hits and conveniently forget the misses. However, there have been serious attempts to investigate psychic phenomena through a scientific lens. J.B. Ryan, a psychologist at Duke University, conducted thousands of experiments on clairvoyance and telepathy. Initial results were promising, but when other researchers tried to replicate the findings under stricter controls, the outcomes became inconsistent. To this day, no psychic phenomenon has met the gold standard of repeatable, independently verified scientific proof. Even so, there have been real government projects like the CIA's Stargate project that invested millions of dollars in studying remote viewing during the Cold War. Though much of it remains classified or inconclusive, the very existence of such programs shows that even the most rational institutions once took psychic abilities seriously. Finally, some forward-thinking scientists are beginning to ask a more radical question: is consciousness truly confined to the brain? Or could it be part of a larger field of information, with the brain merely acting as a receiver and decoder? If that's the case, then phenomena like intuition, astral projection, or glimpses of the future may not be supernatural at all, but rather natural functions of a system we are only beginning to comprehend. Psychic abilities in history and culture. When the unseen world weaves through myth, faith, and the human spirit. Since the dawn of time, when humanity lived among dense forests and faced nameless storms and darkness, age-old questions echo in the human mind. Is there something beyond death? Do souls truly exist? Who shapes our fate? These questions became the foundation of religion and philosophy, and the first doorway into the world of psychic experience, an unseen realm that has always stood like a shadow behind the visible one. In ancient civilizations, the gifted, those believed to possess supernatural abilities, were revered and protected. In ancient Greece, the Oracle of Delphi was said to channel the voice of Apollo. In Egypt, priests and magicians were more than ritual keepers, they were seen as bridges between the living and the divine. In ancient China, the principles of heavens and the balance of yin and yang formed the foundation of both the cosmos and human fate, where intuition and psychic abilities were viewed as glimpses into the divine mechanism of the universe. The world's great religions also include psychic phenomena as part of the sacred path. In Christianity, certain saints were believed to possess the gift of prophecy, to heal with faith, or to receive visions from God. Buddhism speaks of supernatural powers thing attained through deep meditation and liberation from ego abilities, like divine vision, knowledge of past lives, or telepathy. In Sufi Islam, mystics enter deep trance states and claim to hear the whispers of the sacred realm. And in Hinduism, the yogis are respected not only for their spiritual discipline, but also for their remarkable control over body, mind, and energy, sometimes resulting in seemingly miraculous feats. But psychic abilities have never belonged only to temples and scriptures. In folk culture, they manifest in shamans, spirit mediums, village seers, or ordinary people born with a gift. Across regions, stories of dream warnings, soul callings, or unexplained emotional bonds with the departed remain deeply ingrained in the collective imagination. These are not treated as superstition, but as real and sacred parts of life woven into everyday belief. Even in the modern age, when science and rationalism rise, the mystical persists. Figures like Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet of America, left behind thousands of trance readings on future events, healing, and soul journeys. Institutions like the Institute of Noetic Sciences, near-death experience research centers, and even the CIA have studied phenomena beyond the five senses, suggesting that society's most rational branches have also brushed against the psychic unknown. Let us not forget the indigenous tribes across Africa, Australia, and the Americas, where shamans still serve as spiritual anchors of their communities. Through rituals, spirit journeys, healing chants, and plant medicines, they claim to traverse realms and speak to ancestors. For them, psychic ability is not belief, it is daily reality, intricately tied to nature and the sacred rhythms of the earth. From east to west, across time and culture, psychic abilities have always accompanied humanity on its inner journey, not merely a way to understand the world, but a sacred thread connecting what is visible and what lies beyond. And perhaps, in the quiet corners of the soul, psychic awareness is the universe's softest whisper, waiting only for us to listen. Strange cases. When the boundary between reality and mystery begins to blur. Though modern science has yet to definitively confirm the existence of psychic abilities, thousands of strange, inexplicable stories have been recorded across the globe, spanning cultures, generations, and belief systems. These stories don't come from theater stages or fantasy novels, but from ordinary people, sometimes children, sometimes the grieving, sometimes skeptics who, in one fleeting moment, encountered something far beyond what logic could explain. Some individuals are known to possess extraordinary sensitivity to emotion, often referred to as empaths. These people can deeply feel the emotions, moods, and even physical discomforts of others, without any visible cues. They enter a room and immediately sense that something is wrong. When near someone in pain or distress, they feel that pain as if it were their own. It's as if there's an invisible thread of energy connecting all human souls, and these empaths are tuned in like living antennas. There are also stories of prophetic dreams, visions that precede great tragedy. President Abraham Lincoln once recounted a dream in which he saw himself lying in a coffin in the White House just days before his assassination. Survivors of the 9/11 attacks and the 2004 tsunami in Asia reported having intense premonitions or recurring nightmares shortly before the events occur. Were these mere coincidences, or were they warnings whispered from a realm beyond comprehension? Then come the tales of children who remembered past lives. Young children, often between the ages of 2 and 5, have spoken of names, cities, events, and deaths belonging to complete strangers, only for their statements to be later verified as historically accurate. One American boy described, in detail, the cockpit of a World War II fighter plane and the experience of being shot down, memories eventually traced to a real pilot who died decades before. Could it be that the soul carries fragments of memory from one life to the next, waiting to awaken in a new form? Equally compelling are the reports of near-death experiences, NDS. Thousands of people across cultures and religions recount the similar sequence, floating above their body, watching doctors work to revive them, traveling through a tunnel of light, feeling a profound, indescribable peace, and sometimes encountering deceased loved ones. What's remarkable is the near-universal consistency of these reports. regardless of the person's background. How could they describe the same experience if it were merely the brain's final flicker? And then there's conscious out-of-body travel, or astral projection. Some individuals, through deep meditation or hypnotic states, claim they can leave their physical bodies at will. They describe traveling to unfamiliar places, encountering strange landscapes, or meeting non-physical beings. Robert Monroe, a pioneer in out-of-body research, documented his journeys in great detail, claiming the experience felt more real than reality itself. Thousands of others have echoed his words, challenging our deepest assumptions about consciousness and its limits. Though still shrouded in mystery, these cases stand as open doors inviting us to explore parts of ourselves we have yet to understand. Perhaps within each of us lies a hidden dimension, untouched by logic, unbound by time. And it is in that silent space where the strangest phenomena begin to feel like home, not abnormal, not supernatural, simply the forgotten truth of a soul finding its way back. Spirituality or an advanced brain. When the supernatural may simply be the natural we haven't evolved enough to understand. When faced with mysterious psychic phenomena, we often see two opposing explanations. One says these experiences come from the intervention of unseen forces, a parallel world where the soul, destiny, and intuition exist beyond the grasp of reason. The other insists they are nothing more than byproducts of our highly advanced brain, a neurological system so complex that we, ourselves, have yet to fully comprehend it. But perhaps the real question is this: is there truly a boundary between spirituality and neuroscience? Or are they simply two perspectives on the same underlying truth, each seen through a different lens? Many modern scientists believe that what we call psychic ability could be the result of the brain's deep, non-linear, and intuitive processing of information. Intuition, premonitions, spontaneous insights, or even inner visions during meditation might not be supernatural at all, but signals from subconscious regions of the mind we have yet to fully access. The human brain, with its 86 billion neurons and trillions of synaptic connections, is a universe in miniature, where thoughts, memories, and emotions ebb and flow like currents of energy. Perhaps it is within the silent realm of the unconscious, the space beyond language, beyond logic, that experiences we label spiritual truly arise. However, a new frontier of thought is emerging, particularly in fields like quantum physics and consciousness studies. What if consciousness is not generated by the brain, but is a universal field of awareness, and the brain is merely the receiver and interpreter? In this view, the brain functions like a radio. It doesn't create the music. It simply tunes into a larger frequency where knowledge, intuition, and memory exist as energetic patterns in the cosmos. If that's the case, then when we sense something beyond reason, it may not be an illusion, it may be a rare moment of attunement to a frequency most people can't detect. Like an antenna suddenly catching a hidden signal. The question is no longer, is this real, but have we evolved enough to understand it? In deep meditation, when brainwaves slow to alpha or theta states, many people report visions of light, the whispering of the universe, or a feeling of dissolving completely into space. These experiences can no longer be dismissed as mere hallucinations, especially when they are echoed across millions of people from all walks of life, from Tibetan monks on snow-covered peaks to solitary meditators in Western rooms. And maybe, just maybe, spiritual awakening is not about stepping away from science, but about stepping deeper into the true nature of the human being, a nature science has not yet found the language to describe. In that space, spirituality does not oppose the brain. It harmonizes with it, as an elegant union between inner wisdom and the subtle vibrations of a higher plane of being. Perhaps the miracle does not lie outside of us but within, and when spirituality meets science, when intuition meets reason, when heart meets brain, that may be the moment when humanity steps one step closer to truth. Conclusion. So, are psychic abilities real? An ancient question that still stirs the human heart today. Across the centuries, from prehistoric caves to modern laboratories, psychic abilities have remained one of humanity's most controversial and fascinating subjects. They dwell in that fragile space between science and mystery, between what can be proven and what can only be felt. And whether you believe or not, psychic phenomena continue to live on within the spiritual life of humanity like a quiet, enduring underground stream. So, are psychic abilities real? Through the lens of modern science, no definitive, repeatable evidence has yet emerged to confirm the existence of supernatural powers. The experiments that once shook the world have largely failed to meet the strict standards of scientific reproducibility. Many so-called miraculous experiences can be explained through psychology, statistics, or the brain's inner workings. Yet from the perspective of personal experience, millions of people around the globe across all ages, cultures, and faiths have shared moments that defy logic, a prophetic dream that came true, a gut feeling that saved a life, a sudden connection with a lost loved one, or a meditative state that felt as though they left their body behind. These moments, though unmeasurable, leave an indelible mark on the individual as if they had briefly touched a layer of reality invisible to most. In the realm of faith and spirituality, psychic ability is seen as a sacred part of awakening. It is a reminder that the world is not composed solely of matter and reason, but also of vibration, soul, and deep connection to the universe. So perhaps the question is not, are psychic abilities real, but rather, are we open enough in heart and in mind to listen to what cannot yet be named? Because sometimes, what we call mystery today becomes self-evident truth tomorrow. And amid the noise of the modern world, perhaps it is those quiet, subtle psychic moments that are the universe's gentle whispers meant just for us.